Beautiful, huh? Jerry Afshary on harp, Maria Costellas on flute. Thank you very much. Good evening. It's so wonderful to see you. Welcome to Practicing the Presence. My name is Reverend Lori Mack, and we come together on a Wednesday evening to lift you up and to recognize the presence of God as your life and to tap into the field of infinite possibility, infinite potentiality. For this is a candle lighting service, and I'm going to invite you to come forward and to set an intention for this evening. Today I'll be talking about practice makes the master. And this evening, set your intention for something that you would like to practice in your life. Maybe you would like a deeper spiritual practice. Maybe you would just like to be more conscious in your life. Or maybe you would there's something in your heart that's seeking to express itself as an artist or maybe in business or sports. So I invite you to come forward to light your candle, set your intention as we practice the presence together. Thank you. Thank you. So this is the time of our service where we practice our meditation. So I invite you to get comfortable and to close your eyes and to go within. And as you go within, breathe in and out into your heart space. Breathe in the breath of God, the breath of the divine spirit. And I invite you to think of something in your life that brings you peace. Could be a place that you go to or a person that you love being around. Just cultivate that feeling of peace in your heart. And as you breathe in and out of your heart space, just allow that feeling of peace to embody you. And as we practice the presence together, allow this feeling of peace to emanate throughout the whole sanctuary.
Settling into this beautiful divine energy of beauty and peace and love that is God expressing, moving in, through, and around all that is. There is a beauty and an exquisite joy that radiates because God is everywhere. And I am one with this beautiful divine energy that moves through me as divine intelligence, and it expresses as me, as spirit, as me, for I am that divine expression of spirit. And as that is true for me, that is true for each individual here, that we are beauty, that we are perfect, that we are whole, that we are filled with joy and love. And I know that this evening is a divine event, and that each person is here by divine appointment. And I know that the talk by Reverend Laurie McMacken about practicing to become the master, how practice makes the master, taps into each soul here. For we are all here on this planet, on this earth, for a divine purpose. And I know that through Reverend Laurie McMacken's talk, that we are given a gift that expands our consciousness, that taps into something really special in our soul. And it is a wonderful evening, and so it is. I have a reading here tonight from one of my favorite Ernest Holmes books called This Thing Called You. I would like to share with you. Today, I realize that my good is at hand. Today, I know that my Redeemer liveth in me. He is not outside that I need to go in search of him. He is not in the mountain, nor even in the temple, holy as it may be. He is within me, now, today, this very moment, in this breath I draw, in the eternal now and the everlasting here. The Spirit within me refreshes me. I am saturated with the essence of life. My body is a vehicle for its expression, my mind an instrument for its thought. Today, I shall consciously commune with this Spirit, which is my spirit, with this life, which is my life, with this Christ, which is my Christ. I shall endeavor to feel this presence as a living reality in my life. I shall try to sense the same Spirit in everyone. I shall see him everywhere.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Maria. So, good evening. Tonight's talk is Practice Makes the Master. And as you know, I am giving a series of talks, the 7 Steps to Mastery, and today is step 3. I'm going to review the first 2 steps before we get into step 3. The first step of mastery, the talk title was Co-Create Your Life. And the step was to throw away all your dreams and all your goals. Yes, to throw away all your dreams and all your goals, because dreams are lazy and goals are rigid. And what I invited you to do was to cultivate visions and intentions. Vision is something that you receive from the heart. When you are practicing the presence and you are meditating on a regular basis, Spirit is giving you visions for your life. And Spirit will also give you intuition. Intuition is what drives the intention, and the intention is the compass for the vision of your life. And the vision of your life is usually something that is deep within your soul, that is unique to you, that needs to be expressed, but yet it is so far away from you. In order for you to achieve this, you have to expand and you have to grow in the consciousness. You have to become more of who you are. In the second step of mastery, the talk title was to focus on expansion. Remember, hocus pocus, where's my focus? Am I focusing on expansion or am I focusing on contraction? And when we know that we're focusing on contraction, we're focusing on the negative side of life. When we know we're focusing on the negative side of life, it's like we're opening up a can of worms, and the law responds to us, or what we focus on expands. So the second step of mastery is to zip it, clip it, and forget about it, right? Yeah, just zip it, clip it, and forget about it, you know? Don't talk about it. Don't even focus on it. Just forget about it. When we forget about it, we're focusing on the greater good. We have a laser-like focus of that vision that is calling to our heart. And today, I'll be talking about practice makes the master. Now, we all know that every master was once a disaster, right? I know you have a story within you that you could tell us how everything turned into a huge disaster, and then all of a sudden, as you practiced and you became better and better, you became the master, right? We started doing that at the age of 5 when we wanted to ride a bicycle. And we continue to do that as we expand and we grow in the consciousness of our own lives. So, step 3 is beyond mastery and into misery. Yes, beyond mastery and into misery. You probably think, wow, she's crazy. No, are you willing? Are you willing to take on the challenge? Are you willing to persevere? Are you willing to maybe give up an old habit in order to have a new consciousness? Are you willing to work through the obstacles that may keep you from being your greater yet to be? Beyond mastery and into misery, for this too shall pass. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, he says, one of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. It's easy to listen to a speaker, and it's easy to read a book, but it takes hard work. It takes diligence. It takes practice in order to put the theory in action in our lives. And it is through our spiritual practice that we realize the truth. And it is always the truth that sets us free. 2 years ago, I was at my ministerial intensive. It was the week that I was taking my panels, my oral panels. And all the ministers gathered together that were going to graduate, and we had different teachers that came in to teach and share information with us. And someone shared with us the pyramid of knowledge, and I thought I wanted to share this with you. That when you want to retain knowledge, if you hear a lecture, you will probably retain 5% of that lecture. If you read a book, you will retain 10% of the book. If you look at audio-visual, you will retain 20%. A demonstration, 30%. A discussion group, pretty good, 50%. But it is practice by doing, do you retain 75%. So if you have on-the-job training, that is the best kind of training that you can get. And of course, when you teach others, you embody the practice and you become that example. So here in this service, I'm trying to figure out what are the certain modalities that we use. We definitely have the lecture, right? You can receive 5% from the lecture. If you sign up on the email list, I usually send a reading, but this week I'm going to send you a spiritual practice. The audio-visual, I'm going to be showing you a couple videos. and the demonstration. I would think that if you set your intention to practice something in your life and you put that out into the law of mind and you follow your intuition, that you will have a demonstration. We don't have a discussion group, but we do afterwards in community when we have tea and cookies. And it is the practice of coming together. It's the practice of practicing meditation together as one, as a community. And it has taken this theory and practicing it in your life that you expand and grow in the presence of spirit. And of course, teaching others, when you become that example, people follow you through example. On Sunday, I had the opportunity to be the minister in the hot seat. The young adults have a service here every second Sunday of the month. And they are in their 20s and 30s, and they have a way that they want to do church their own way. And I think it's pretty smart for them. They want to have a discussion group. So what they do is they put a minister in the hot seat, and they ask the minister questions, and then they tell how they feel about the situation, which I really actually enjoyed. I was nervous, but I actually got the temperature in the room of kind of what needed to be said, and I actually enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised. I dodged some bullets also, but we had a good time. And what the big surprise was is that the practitioner student, her name is Audrey Nicole, she's the one that's facilitating it. She's a young woman that's on her path to ministry, but she gifted everyone with this book. It's the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. But what she didn't know was that this was the book that I used when I taught myself how to meditate. This was the book that I used that led me to the path where I touched the hem of the garment for the first time, where I had my first spiritual awakening. And I forgot about this book, and it was so exciting for me to be with these young people and to tell them the story, and I thought I would tell you the story also. In this book, there is a 40-day meditation. Now, I don't know about you, but I have been ADD all my life. And so to learn how to meditate was very difficult. Anyone here have a difficult time meditating? It is not easy, right? So I would fall asleep, and I would do the head whiplash, and I would get distracted by a noise, or I would think about what's in the refrigerator, and I really would never finish my meditation. But my teacher at the time kept on telling me that we were all one. And I'm thinking to myself, right, you're there, and I'm sitting right here. We're not one. We look like two different people to me, And so I was just at the beginning of my journey. And so they would say, you have to practice meditation. You have to practice meditation. So I picked up this book, and it's 40 days, and every single day you have to be diligent, and you have to sit down, and you have to meditate. Now, if you miss one day, you have to go back all the way to day one. All right? And there's 10 meditations. So what they want you to do is to read, or 10 affirmations. Read the affirmation and then meditate for 15 minutes. I couldn't meditate for 15 minutes. So I read the affirmation and I meditated for 1 minute. All right? That was the first meditation. That's something. The second day I read the meditation and I meditated for 2 minutes. Right? And every day I sat in the same place at the same time and meditated. The third meditation I read, and I meditated for 3 minutes. At the end of the 10th affirmation, because they give you 10 affirmation, I had meditated for 10 minutes. Now, then you have to start back at the first one again on day 11. So you do 10 affirmation for 40 days. That's 40 times that you practice this set. My goal was to reach 30 minutes, which I did. And what happened after 30 minutes is I was craving meditation. My mind needed the silence. I had trained my mind through my diligence. I was going beyond the mastery and into the misery in order to practice the presence. On day 28, something amazing happened to me. And I don't know how to explain it, except that I had this overwhelming feeling that I am that I am. I actually understood that the innermost God and the outermost God was the one God. I understood that we were all connected because I had this inner experience. And once you have this inner experience, there's no turning back. It is hook, line, and sinker. And not only that, but during this meditation, I also received my calling into ministry. And I was so embarrassed that I didn't tell anyone for a year because my consciousness wasn't there. They'd probably laugh at me. And finally, I revealed it. So this is amazing, amazing practice. And here's one of the affirmations that they give. And this is an abundant affirmation. So I thought we would just say it together so you could get the feel for it. And not only that, if you're on my email list, I'm going to send you this 40-day meditation. If the book is in the bookstore, I think Audrey Nicole bought them all, but if they're in the bookstore, you might want to get one. It's just a little book, and it talks about abundance. So the trick is you have to say it with feeling, because a lot of times when we want to manifest something, we think we say spiritual words and we're going to have a manifestation. But it's the feeling that drives the energy. It's the feeling that gives the manifestation. So together, money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of the truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. And that's just a taste of this amazing 40-day meditation. Ruth St. Denis is one of the mothers, the first mother of modern dance in America. And she quotes, "We can hear the silence of the voice of the spiritual universe within our own hearts. And when we are practicing the presence on a regular basis, yes, we can hear that silence of the spiritual universe in our own hearts, calling us to become more of who we are today." And Ruth St. Denis is also one of the choreographers of the Dances of Universal Peace, which is a spiritual practice that we're going to be practicing here on Friday. Practice is not only like meditation. A spiritual practice on a daily basis can just be everyday living. When we want to live more conscious, when we want to walk more consciously, when we want to love more consciously, when we want to be kind, when we want to eat more consciously. A lot of times we get stuck in bad habits, I know I do, that I'm not being as conscious. And we have to ask ourselves, in our daily practice, do we want to live a more conscious life? Thich Nhat Hanh, he quotes, "A spiritual practice is not just sitting and meditating. Practice is looking, thinking, touching, drinking, eating, and talking. Every act, every breath, every step can be practice and can help us to become more of ourselves." So even the simple daily task is a practice. I bet you if we asked our harpist, Jerry, how many hours that she put in to becoming a master, that she would say many, many, many hours, maybe 10,000 or more. I bet if we ask Maria how many hours she put in into becoming a master flutist, I'm sure she would tell us many, many, many hours. And I know for you in your life, there is probably something that you put in many, many hours in. It could be your business practice. It could maybe you were a sports fanatic or a surfer. There's a skill that you put many, many, many hours in. And when we move beyond mastery into misery, when we are able to move into the face of obstacles and overcome them, is when we have a masterful life. I know that I grew up practicing because I started dancing at a very, very young age, at 5 years old. So we were very, very disciplined. And by the time I was in college, I had a ballet master. And my ballet master was a very, very wise man. And I was actually a natural dancer, and I had a lot of natural qualities. Physically, I had natural turnout, and natural extension, and natural flexibility, and you might not even know what I'm talking about. But for a dancer and for the vehicle I had, it was natural. But when I walked into his class, he would never let me do anything that came naturally. He would only allow me to do the steps that challenged me, like jumps. And I couldn't stand jumps. His name was Mr. Petrov, and he was from Yugoslavia. And he would say, a 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, jump, and jump. A 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, jump, and jump. Jump, Lottie, jump. Higher, Lottie, higher. And then he would say, Lottie, repetition is the mother of creation. Lottie, do you hear me? Repetition is the mother of creation. Every single day he would say this to me for 3 years. Here's a picture of Mr. Petrov I found online. Repetition is the mother of creation. Nicholas Petrov, that was my ballet master. And so he challenged me, and he taught me that in order to become what I wanted to be, in order to become that masterful dancer, that I had to do what challenged me. And 3 years later, I didn't want to go to his class every day, but I did. But 3 years later, I was flying through the air. It was an amazing experience. And then he said to me, Lottie, okay, you have a dancer that's talented right here. And then you have a dancer that's not talented right here. Now, the dancer that's not talented works hard, good work ethics, continues to work and work and work. Now, this is the dancer that's not talented, and this is the dancer that is talented. You have to have good work ethics. Repetition is the mother of creation. So I really appreciated Mr. Petrov in my life to teach me that it's important to do what challenges me in order to become what my dream desires. Could you play this video for me, Steve or Melanie? The 10,000 Hour Rule, based on the best-selling book, Outliers. Outliers, A Story of Success by Malcolm Gladwell. A study was done in early 1990s in Berlin at the Elite Academy of Music. The school of violinists were divided into 3 groups. First group, potential world-class soloist. Second group, good violinist. Third group, average violinist. Question asked to all the violinists, over the course of your entire career, ever since you picked up the violin, how many hours have you practiced? The results are, the good violinist totaled 8,000 hours of practice. The average violinist totaled 4,000 hours of practice. How about the elite performers? Everyone from all 3 groups started playing at roughly the same age, around 5 years old. In the first few years, everyone practices 2 to 3 hours a week. Around the age of 8, real differences start to emerge. The best students began to practice more than everyone else. 6 hours a week by age 9. 8 hours a week by age 12. 16 hours a week by age 14. And 30 hours a week by age 20. Playing their instruments with the intent to get better. At 20, the elite performers had 10,000 hours of practice. The thing that distinguishes one performer from another is how hard he or she works. What's more, the people at the very top don't work just harder or even much harder than anyone else. They work much, much harder. Researchers have settled on what they believe is the magic number of hours for true expertise. 10,000 hours. Thank you. 10,000 hours. You know, when you live a long life, 10,000 hours isn't that much. They say it's 3 hours a day for like 10 years, but we do a lot of things every day. We have 24 hours in the day. So do you want to be that master for your life, or do you want to be that master for somebody else's vision, right? It's something that we have to think about. So there's a cute Zen story about an old man with a long beard, and he's sitting by the river, and he takes a stick, and he draws a perfect circle in the sand. And there's a young boy that comes behind him, and he says, "Hey, old man, how'd you draw that perfect circle?" And he said, "Well, I tried, and then I tried again, and then I tried again. Here's a stick. Why don't you try?" And the old man walked away. So the young boy drew a circle, and it was a little fat. And then he tried again. It was a little too thin, and he tried again. It was a little bit awkward. And he continued. After time, he got better and better. Then one day, he was sitting down by the riverbank, and he took the stick, and he drew a perfect circle. And then there was a young boy that stood behind him, and it said, "Hey, old man, how did you draw that perfect circle?" Yeah, the circle is that perfection of life. The circle is repetition is the mother of creation, right? Martha Graham was actually the student of Ruth St. Dentis. She is also another mother of dance in American heritage. I believe that we learn by practice, whether it means to learn to dance by practicing dancing or to learn to live by practicing living. The principles are really the same. In each, it is the performance of a dedicated, precise set of acts, physical or intellectual, from which comes shape of achievement, a sense of one's being, a satisfaction of spirit. One becomes, in some area, an athlete of God. I'm just telling you, I love this, athlete of God. So just remember, in some area, you are an athlete of God. Practice means to perform over and over and over again in the face of all obstacles. Some act of vision, of faith, of desire. Practice is a mean of inventing the perfection desired. Wow. You are an athlete of God. Don't you love that? In some area of your life, you're an athlete of God. I'm going to take that and keep it. I want you to keep that too. Say out loud, "I am an athlete of God." I'm an athlete of God. Yes. Doesn't that feel good? Yes, you are an athlete of God. I had my girlfriend spend the weekend with us, and we had been friends for 30 years. We actually danced together many, many years ago. And she had told me that she saw a research, and we're always talking about practice. She saw something on research where they had basketball players, and they had 3 teams of basketball, or 3 groups of basketball players in the research study. The first group was not allowed to practice. The second group was allowed to practice. But the third group was allowed to practice, but only in their mind. They had to practice perfectly shooting baskets in their mind. And the group that shoot the most baskets was the group that practiced perfectly in their own mind. And Ernest Holmes tells us that in action, all things are possible within action. So that goes to tell us that yes, we want to have good work ethics. Yes, we want to work hard. But can you imagine cutting your work time in half if you can practice in consciousness? Because you are the mental equivalence of what you are thinking. So if you are thinking abundance and you are loving, or you are joyful, or if you're thinking you're watching yourself making hoops, or if you're doing, even Joe Dispenza, I remember him talking about doing sit-ups in your head. If you can do sit-ups in your head, then all of a sudden you get the 6-pack. I think I'm going to start that. So, so I used to live in LA, and at one time I was a Lakers fan. And when Shaq and Kobe were in, I'm not really anymore, but could you play this video for them? Thank you.
with 3, with 2, in trouble, forced out, and in! Unbelievable!
Kobe Bryant can take over.
Bryant for 3, puts it in! Kobe Bryant!
Ariza dropped down, Kobe! Oh! Attacking, all the way, dumps it home! Kobe down the middle with authority!
Still waiting for a big smile out of you. You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or
Still to be happy about.
you're up 2-0?
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
That is just greatness personified.
He's a perfect example of insane work ethics, right? He's a perfect example of beyond mastery into misery. He's a perfect example of perseverance. He's a perfect example of perfect makes perfect practice. And he is a great example for perfect makes perfect practice because he would watch himself during halftime in order to correct whatever he was doing wrong to play his game in a very high way. The military also believed in perfect practice makes perfect. Many of the musicians, many of the dancers, we were always critiqued after every single performance that perfect practice makes perfect. But it doesn't matter whether you're practicing your daily life or you're practicing something that sings into your heart. We have to go beyond mastery and into misery in order to focus and change our consciousness. But one thing we do know is that this too shall pass. King Solomon had a ring, and in this ring, when you put on the ring and you felt happy, it would change your mood to you felt sad, or if you felt sad, it would change your mood to you felt happy. Just reminding you that every moment is just a moment that this too shall pass. In life, Ernest Holmes reminds us that we are living in this golden spiral, always spiraling into eternality. When we are looking to achieve something, it's never from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain or from point A to point B. It's always on a spiral. And when we're spiraling in, you see the slats are each step that we practice. Whether we're practicing on our daily basis, we're practicing conscious living, or we're practicing an art form, or an athletic, or a business that we are doing. There's something that is within you that's seeking to emerge. There's something that within you that's seeking to be bigger than you are, who you are today. For you are that essence of the divine spirit, and spirit's always wanting to express that greatness within you. So as we have this greater vision for our life, this vision from our heart, and we have a laser-like focus, and we're willing to move beyond the mastery into the misery. We're willing to persevere and to pay our due diligence and to create mastery in our life, then we are willing to blossom into that full flower. Thank you, and so it is. I'll invite the musicians to come forward. So I invite you to close your eyes and go within, and let's pray about this intention that you set for yourself. So I know that there's something in your life that you would like to practice. Maybe you would like to practice better habits in your daily living, or there's something in your heart that is seeking to express itself, and you want to put more time and you want to pour more energy into it. So I know that each person here is that divine, intimate expression of spirit, but there's only one spirit and one one mind and one presence, and that presence is always expressing itself in all and through all. And I know that my life is that presence of God. I am that essence of love and joy. I am that artistry. I am that athlete of God. And I know each person here is the athlete of God in their own arena. I know each person here is seeking to play life at its fullest potential. Each person here is to be divinely guided and guarded and God maintained and God sustained in their life as this expanded expression. And I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that it is already done in the mind of God. I'm grateful that every prayer is answered within each person's heart, within each person's soul. And I release my word into the law, knowing that it is done. And so it is. Wow, that was beautiful, wasn't it? Amazing grace. Thank you. Lovely. So this is the time of our service where we practice giving back to our spiritual center. I invite the ushers to come forward, knowing that your gifts that do good work in the world, as we keep our lights on and the doors open, as we become that consciousness for love and light out into the universal good. So together we'll repeat our affirmation. Freely I give, freely I receive. I'm immersed in the universal flow, knowing my gifts do good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. So now is the time of our service where we practice prayer. If you have someone in your heart that you'd like to bring into the circle of love, I invite you to raise your hand, and as you say their name, I will ring the bell to signify that they are in the consciousness of this room, and we will pray for them. Does anyone have someone they would like to bring into the room? Thank you. Travati. And we want to bring in Sharon Travati and also Sharon Powell into the circle. Anyone else? All right. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within as we bring all our brothers and our sisters and our loved ones and our friends into the circle of love. Just recognizing that this circle of love, it is eternal. There is no beginning. There is no ending. It is complete in every single way. The circle of love is whole. There is nothing missing. All the qualities of God are in the circle of love. For the circle of love is complete. It cannot depart from my presence or wander from my care. The circle of love is complete within me. The circle of love is complete within God. And I know that each person here within the circle that we hold high in the consciousness of the divine spirit. I know that God is perfect, God is whole, and God is complete. And each person is that essence of spirit, for there is only one God, and each person is that one God. There's only one life, and each person is that one life. And there's only one presence, and each person is the presence of spirit. I open that pathway for that divine reality with a capital R to flow through each and every person's life, knowing that whatever needs to be healed is already healed right now in the mind of God. Any obstructions within the physical body, any obstructions within the exterior is complete. It is whole. It is perfect harmony and perfect balance. I know there's only one perfect God, one perfect being, and one perfect man in the eyes of God. And I'm grateful for this divine healing. I'm grateful for this divine knowing that there's only love and there's only light, that each person is surrounded by love and filled with a divine light of spirit. As I release my word into the law of mind, knowing that it is done, and so it is. So now I'd like to give gratitude for everyone who helped put this service together. Thank you, Melanie Bennett, very much. Thank you, Steve Grant. Thank you, Gregory Novell. My mother still loves you. Thank you, Vicki Mazzell. Thank you, practitioner Deb Sadler. Thank you so much. Oh, Jerry, you were beautiful. Our harpist, give her a big hand. Yes. Yes, it was beautiful. And thank you, Maria. It was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, I just loved it. And just a couple little messages. We have a Facebook page, Going Within Facebook page. You can check the Facebook page and see who's on first and who's on second. Also, I'll be putting up our talks if you want to see the talks up there. The Dances of Universal Peace are on this Friday with Jim and Lynn Chow at 7 o'clock here at Seaside. Come and join this beautiful spiritual practice, this prayer through movement and song and dance. The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Yes, you've got a millionaire mind. I'm going to be teaching this class on May 9th and May 16th, June 6th and June 13th. So join us. It will be a fun, interactive class as we expand and grow our consciousness in abundance. So I would like to invite my friend Deborah up, who is going to help sing us out this evening. Everyone, please stand. And together, let's do the universal blessing. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. And we are going to sing this peace song. I want to tell you, in 2 weeks, Reverend Bill Salisbury, he's here today. He's going to be here speaking. And after today, we are going to have a regular ending song, Peace Will Change Our World by Marcia Jen. And she'll be here that week to present the closing song. Oh, okay. You've got it? And Deb, come on up.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in perfect harmony. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Bless you, Cece. May you walk in peace, and please join us for tea and cookies. And next time, bring a friend.